Why is money called dough? Because we all need it. Hi Flosstube, I am Stephanie, the IvyHouse crafter, and I am joined today by Audrey, the IvyHouse little crafter. And she's here because she did some cross stitching this week. She got out her flower yesterday and put in some stitches.
If you notice the highlighter, that's all the stitches I've done today and yesterday.
It's over here on this side.
I've only did one today, I don't know why.
And this is what it's going to look like.
This is what it looks like right now.
Here it is. So that's these stitches right in here. She got that out while I was working on one of my projects.
It was lost. So that's why I haven't been working on it much.
Yeah, she keeps hers in this little project bag that I made her a while back, but the project bag got lost. And then she found it, and she was able to work on it some more.
Let me just put everything back in. Here's a floss bag.
Yeah, she's got her floss bag with all the floss in it.
Yeah.
So, if you remember from last week's video, I was really excited to go to the potluck brunch banana. Why do I say banana? Potluck brunch pajama party. I went there on Saturday. It was fun. It was a lot of fun to see the ladies in my church in their pajamas. One woman showed up with rollers in her hair, and that was fun.
Rollers?
Rollers in her hair, yep. And I was going to wear my sleeping cap. I have a satin sleeping cap. I don't wear it very often when I sleep, but I thought that it would be funny to wear to the pajama party.
What does it look like?
It's the shiny light blue. I don't know if you've ever seen me wear it. I usually just put it on like right before I go to bed, and you're asleep by then.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think Audrey's ever seen it. But I ended up not, and then regretting it, because even though I would have looked ridiculous, it would have been ridiculously awesome, just like the lady in her curlers.
I'm gonna go into the kitchen because I'm starving.
Okay, you have to be quiet while you're in there though.
Okay, and that will be back.
Okay, so I brought a great big like 4-quart bowl of fruit. I had cantaloupe and honeydew and strawberries and grapes and orange slices, and it was really yummy, and it was almost entirely gone. There was like 2 cups of fruit left when I was done, or when I came home. So yeah, it was fun, and glad I went. Okay. I am going to insert in here a video that I meant to show in my last video, or maybe even the one before that, I don't remember. It's some finishes that I had that were for other people, and so I took video of it before sending those off, and they have since been received, and I need to put them here on my channel so that you can see my finishes. So I am going to put that little clip in here. Hey Flosstube. I had a couple finishes I wanted to show, and I'm filming them ahead of time because they are for other people. So by the time you watch this, the people for whom they are intended have already received them. So you get to see them. The first is the owl bag. I created the pattern for this owl. I found some royalty-free images and chose one and created a pattern based on that sweet little image. Stitched it up and then sewed it into this quilted bag pouch thing. The pink sort of brings out the pink of the eyes. The purple, oops, excuse me, the purple zipper is a match for the purple of the owl. And you open it up and it's got this cute blue lining. So that is the owl bag that I made for a friend of mine for her birthday. And if you watch her YouTube channel, I'm sure that you might get to see it again. The other finish that I have is my Biscornu. This is for the Great Biscornu Swap, and that is a Facebook group that I'm a part of, where we swap Biscornus every few months. The theme for this round was a taste of home, so something that reminds you of home. And I have a lot of symbolism, or yeah, I guess symbolism is a good word, a lot in this particular Biscornu. I chose the seagull for the front because I was born in Florida, where we have lots of seagulls, and I live in Utah, the state bird of which is the seagull. The brown of the fabric represents potatoes from Idaho, because my extended family lives in Idaho, and so in all of our traveling, with my dad being in the military, Idaho was always a second home. And on the other side is this darling Kokeshi doll, and I charted up this pattern to sort of design something off the fly, on the fly, anyway. And this is because I lived in Japan for 4 years during my teenage years. And here's the, oops, the edging, just this fun stripes and little squares with red circles. And this edging came with the seagull pattern. I will link below the Etsy store where I bought this pattern. It also comes with a couple other maritime themed patterns, small things with this same border. So yeah, I am really thrilled with how this one turned out, and hope that the recipient enjoys it as well. Back to your regular Flosstube. So the Biscornu was for Nanette of Stitching Blues, and I will link their channel below. Audrey is just running around desperately searching for something to snack on. What are you looking for, Audrey? Anything in particular?
Yeah, something yummy.
Something yummy.
Can I have this fruit?
Do you know how to use the can opener? Okay, it's kind of hard. It's been sticking lately, so you'll have to use a lot of muscle, okay?
Okay.
So, and the bag was for my friend Jennifer Upton for her birthday. And she has already shown it on her channel, so if you're interested in seeing her show it, you can go check out her channel, which I recommend anyway because she's awesome. And let's see. So I'm gonna go on into my whips now. I've decided to try this week a relatively unstructured rotation. It just kind of worked out this week, and I might keep it up, or now that I've talked about it, I might completely abandon it. But what I'm thinking about is a simple 2-day rotation where I choose a project, I work on it for 2 days, and then put it away and choose another project. And so that's what I've done this week, except for the last couple of days. this is where the unstructured part comes in. I got to a point on the project I was working on within the first day where I was okay with putting it away and not working on it again the next day. And then yesterday, kind of the same thing. We'll see what happens, but I do like the 2-day rotation where I just give one project all of my cross-stitchy focus for 2 days and then set it aside and choose something else. Because then I get to you know, really get some progress on something, but then I don't get bored of it because I tend to need to jump from one thing to another. But if I jump too much, I get overwhelmed and start running around like a chicken with its head cut off. And so anyway, the first 2 days of my tentative rotation, where's the paper? I worked on my Saxon band samplers. So in particular, the one I'm working on is Ye Old Band Sampler. And so I'm kind of up here. Last time I had finished this part, and I think I completed the border for the next part. So in this rotation, I have started that next section. You will notice, if you've been following me or if you watched my last video, I have taken this off of the PVC pipe scroll frame that I had it on. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I took it off when I did, and I wish I'd taken it off earlier, because I don't know how much this is going to show, but can you see the discoloration in the fabric? These stripes of color that don't quite belong. That is from the tape that I used to, Audrey's distracting me behind the camera.
Sorry.
But that's the tape that I used to attach the fabric to the PVC pipe so that I could roll it up. It was a colored duct tape, and it has left residue. I mean, not like a tactile residue, but color that should not be there.
Which one are we on?
I am on this right here.
The lips?
Mm-hmm.
So there's just a few things to go.
Thankfully, with the size of the project and the way that I plan to frame it, the color will not show. Because there's a 1-inch distance between the two band samplers, I thought that it would look good to have a 1-inch border all the way around, and this is just outside that 1-inch border, so that it will come to about here, and the miscoloring comes to about here. And Audrey's trying to keep Matthew from coming upstairs. And I measured all the way down to where the end of the sampler will go, and there's plenty of space down here that it shouldn't be a problem down here either. And he made it upstairs. Do not touch that. Here, come here. Come here. Mr. Jamface! Hi!
How doing?
How doing?
So cute.
So, basic gist. There's discoloration on the fabric. I have removed it from the frame, removed the tape that was causing the discoloration, and I've decided to, I decided to try, oh my gosh. Matthew, please don't try to stand on that box. That is not at all sturdy. This is going to be a little bit of a hectic video. I decided to try stitching it in hand. the whole reason I had it in the scroll frame was because I didn't think I could. It was such a big piece of fabric. Turns out if I roll the bottom up tight enough, please don't pull on that.
Hi.
If I roll the bottom up tight enough, I can actually stitch on this in hand. I still haven't shown my progress. So anyway, here's what I put in. I got this part put in 2 days. So here's all of Ye Old Band Sampler that I have completed. And all of this I stitched in hand. And it worked just fine. It was slightly uncomfortable holding that much bulk in, that much rolled up fabric. Not uncomfortable, just like I had to, just like it could be awkward, but I was able to figure out, you know, how to tuck the sides in and then just get everything situated so that I could fairly comfortably stitch while holding it in hand, and it worked fine. So here is this in its entirety so far. I'm still, you know, very, very small way into this project, despite the number of hours that I've put into this so far. It's going to be 2 feet long, and I've got like 4.5-ish inches on this side, and maybe like 5 and 4. I'm not good at eyeballing, but yeah, like 4.5 and 4 inches. So I'm not very far into it yet. This is still very small amount, but I went into this knowing it was going to take me forever to do, and that's okay. Anyway, so since I have removed it from the scroll frame, I've started keeping it in a project bag, and I'm using my cocoa bag from Sassy Stitchin' Sisters and Brother's mother, Nicia, who I met at Shepherd's Bush that time that I went and met lots of Flosstubers. So it holds the pattern and the project. I could probably even put my bag of floss in there too. It's a big bag full of lots of floss, but there's plenty of room. Okay. My next 2-day rotation, I worked on While Lilies Flourish, and both the band sampler, well, both band sampler patterns and While Lilies Flourish are available in my Etsy shop, and I will link all of those patterns individually below, as well as my Etsy shop. I was kind of all over the place with this one this week. So I started by finishing up this this border thing here. I still had several, I don't know, I think of these as pine, these are like pine boughs, and so I had several pine needles to put in, so I finished that. And then I came up and I finished the roosters and put the flower between them and this little deer, and that was fun. And then I headed on down to the bottom and started the main border. This is going to take a long time with these leaves, oh my gosh. So I started off by stitching the leaves. I started off by stitching the leaves at the same time as the border, so I did can't see where I'm pointing. I would do the border and then like this leaf and then move on, and so I was stitching the leaves along with the border, but then obviously I switched to just the border and saving the leaves for later, which I might regret because that will mean just stitching leaf after leaf after leaf, but anyway, in its entirety, I'm really enjoying this one. And so yeah, it's looking nice. It's fun to stitch samplers because, I mean, you can jump around, like if you want something that you just repeat over and over, you get into a pattern and just go, then you can work on the border. Or if you want to jump around and pick different things, you can work on the motifs. There's big motifs and small motifs, and anyway, it's just a lot of fun to work on a sampler. Okay, so I spent 2 days on that. Next, I got out Summer House by Brooks Books Publishing. This is part of the House for All Seasons collection. It's a freebie. And I finished the bottom half. So there's 2 pages. There's the top half, which is the roof and the tops of the trees and anything in the sky, and then the bottom half, which is the house and the fence and like everything down at the bottom. And so I have everything down at the bottom. It is completely done from here down. I'm gonna flash the pattern. It's okay because it's free, but everything that was green I already had done. Everything that's yellow is what I stitched, and that was the one day where I got to a point after just one day that I was okay moving on to something else. This is showing up okay. Anyway. Yeah. And this has some Krynic in it. You can see it especially in the sunflowers. And it's just kind of scattered throughout the pattern. I believe that it... oh! Yeah, I'm not going to open 2 packages of graham crackers, buddy. I think that it indicates pollen floating through the air. Anyway, so that's Summer House, and I have the bottom half completed. So that brings us to yesterday. Let me bring up the picture for this one.
This will take a while.
No, it won't.
Okay, never mind.
There. Is that shown okay? Is there glare on it or anything?
There's a bit of shine.
What about now?
That's better.
So this is the Specialty Stitches Butterfly Sal from Lakeside,
Shining again.
from Lakeside Needlecraft.
Thanks.
By Doreen Jones. Audrey, you have to let go of the tripod. You can't touch it or it jiggles. Okay. And I am not doing this colorway. It's really fun, it's pretty, but it's not my colors. So
You mentioned more than, okay, you mentioned, okay, this video has been 20 minutes long.
Okay.
Could be longer. I'm gonna go play downstairs.
All right. Take Matthew with you. You can take the graham crackers that he has, and somebody down there can open that up, and you guys
Bye,
can have graham
Flosstube.
crackers.
I'm gonna be going a bit.
Go with the tripod.
Sorry.
Okay. Say bye-bye. He is totally focused on those graham crackers and getting that package opened. He's not going to say anything. Okay. Head downstairs.
Go downstairs, too. Bye-bye, Mom.
Bye-bye. I love you.
Say bye-bye, Flosstube.
Bye. Bye.
Did you hear that? That was so cute. Okay.
He said bye-bye, Flosstube.
All right. Head downstairs. Okay. Instagram really loved when I posted this yesterday. I got lots of likes. So this is Butterfly Specialty Stitches, Specialty Stitches Butterfly Sal by Doreen Jones. And is this not gorgeous? So I already had these three, and this one, I had started this section. I had like this and this and this, and everything else I added yesterday while I was working on it. And it is so pretty. Every time I get this out, I remember, holy cow, I love working on this so much. So I'm not sure if I'm going to stop this one and start a new rotation, or bring this one out another day, or maybe even two, because this is a very unstructured rotation. I could give it 2 days or 1 day or 3 days or whatever. But so if I do keep this one out, I would like to work on borders, so like stitch the one that goes here and maybe down on the bottom as well. So just do the frames so that the next time I pick it up I have choice as to which one I want to work on. So yeah, I think I really am gonna keep I'm gonna keep this one out today and stitch some frames. This is 28 count tea-dyed Monaco. I haven't talked about the colors, the fabrics. Oh well. Summer House is Summer Sky. No. What am I talking about? Summer House is stitched on Star Sapphire 28 count, what was labeled as Jobelin but feels like a really stiff linen. What else did I stitch in? While Lilies Flourish is 18 count Vintage Country Mocha, and the Saxon Band samplers are 25 count White Lugana. Not that that really matters, but you know, floss tubers often say what the fabrics are, so that's what the fabrics are. And these are all stitched in DMZ. Okay, that is all of my projects. Now let me check my notes, see if there's anything else I need. Okay, some tentative plans that I've got. I'm starting to think about Mania, Stitch Mania. And for those who are not aware of what Stitch Mania is, That is a group on Facebook, and it was started in 2015, and it was just a an event basically where you would have 15 new starts in the month of May. And it has, you know, since then exploded into this giant Facebook group where people share everything Flosstube or cross-stitch related, and but Stitch Mania, the event, still goes strong, and people do Mania their own way. Some people still do 15 new starts, some people do however many new starts as what year it is, so they did 15 in 2015 and then 16 in 2016. Since it's 2019, some people are doing 19 new starts. Some people do a new start every day, which is like 31 new starts. Last year, Julie, I think, from Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World, and Gigi and Stitches, I think, both did 50 new starts for Mania. They just started in Mania and then just kept going until they had 50 new starts. I'm not doing that. Last year I did 15 new starts, 1 new start every day for the first 15 days, and by the time I was done, I was done. I mean, 15 was plenty. So I'm going to be doing it a little bit different this year. I've been thinking in my head kind of what do I want to do, and tentatively planning out what I think would be a good idea, and I think I've landed on how I want to do it. I would like to do 10 new starts in May, and have 3 days in which I can work on them. So May 1st I'll have a new start, and I'll have May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd that I'll be able to work on that project, because I like putting in more than just a few stitches when I start something. And it was hard to really get going on a project in just one day like I did last year. So I'll have 3 days to work on my new start, but I will also use those 3 days for one of my whips. So just however I feel like doing it in those 3 days, I'll have a new start and a specific whip, and I'll focus on both of them, maybe like one project the first day and then my whip for the next 2 days, or the new start for the first 2 days and then just pick up the whip on the last day, or work on both of them all 3 days, whatever I feel like in that 3-day period. So I will, in the month of May, have 10 new starts and put in progress on 10 of my whips. And that sounds doable for me, as well as being like a little bit fun and crazy, because 10 new starts is kind of a lot for me. So that's my plans, and I keep looking out the window. The window is like right there, and there's like seagulls, just like one at a time. It's like squirrel, but seagull. Anyway, so when I'm glancing over this way, that's what I'm doing. I'm looking at seagulls flying. Where was I? Anyway, I need to kind of cement down what those new starts are going to be. I have a lot of projects that I have in mind that I would like to start and start working on. I just need to make sure that I have them all in an easily accessible place, because I'm not super organized with my cross-stitch stuff. Some of it's kind of all over the place. So I need to get all of my patterns that I'm going to start all in one place. Make sure that I have fabric and floss for all of them. For most of them, the floss shouldn't be a problem. I usually switch to DMC or work on things that call for DMC, but I have started doing some fancy flosses for a few things. So I need to make sure that I have all of the flosses that I need, and the fabrics and the patterns. And I'll need to start making more project bags because all of my project bags have at least one project in them, and many of my project bags have more than one project in them. So I need to make a few more project bags for myself and maybe some to put up on my Etsy store. Speaking of Etsy store and project bags and stuff, I found on Amazon that I can buy 8-inch squares of fabric, and that is the perfect size for making my Ort pouches. Or as Audrey called it this morning, the orc catcher. She didn't realize it was Ort, not orc. So she was like, "Mom, can you make me an orc catcher?" So I will be making one for Audrey. But yeah, I have a lot of really cute fabrics for making Ort catchers, and plan on doing at least a few this week that I can put up on Etsy. So that is all that I have for today. Hope you enjoyed seeing my projects, seeing Audrey with her project. She was so excited and nervous that I invited her to show her stitching on Flosstube today. Anyway, have a great week and happy stitching, everybody. Bye.